Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill your brain can build. And like any skill, it starts from zero. Here's how. Most people treat confidence like a personality trait, something you either have or you don't. Something loud, obvious, magnetic, but that's not what confidence actually is. Confidence is a pattern your brain learns, a quiet expectation that you can handle what's in front of you. And your brain builds that expectation the same way it builds any other skill, through repetition, through small, honest evidence, through wiring, literal, physical wiring between neurons. Which means the shy version of you and the confident version of you aren't two different people. They're the same brain at two different points on the same learning curve. So if you feel like you're starting from zero, that's not a problem. That's the starting line for every skill anyone has ever built. Let's walk through how it actually works and how to build it from the ground up. The first thing to understand is what confidence really is at the neural level. Your brain runs on prediction. Every second it's guessing what will happen next and preparing you for it. When your brain predicts you can handle something, you feel calm, steady, grounded. That feeling has a name, self-efficacy, and it lives mostly in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain behind your forehead that handles planning and self-control. When your brain predicts you can't handle something, a different region wakes up. The amygdala, your threat detector, it fires cortisol and adrenaline. Your chest tightens. Your voice shrinks. You call that low confidence, but it's really just your brain bracing for a threat it doesn't think you're ready for. So confidence, at its core, is your brain's prediction that you're capable. And predictions are learned. They can be rewritten. This is where neuroplasticity comes in. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself based on what you repeatedly do. Every time you take an action and survive it, even clumsily, your brain updates its prediction slightly. It says, okay, we can do that now. Do that enough times, and the prediction becomes automatic. That automatic prediction is what other people see as confidence. Which brings us to the first real building block, evidence. Your brain doesn't believe words, it believes data. You can tell yourself you're confident all day, but if you've never given your brain evidence, the amygdala still runs the show. So the work isn't affirmations. The work is collecting proof, and the proof has to be small enough that you'll actually collect it. This is where most people go wrong. They try to build confidence by doing something huge, big speech, big risk, big leap. But a huge action, when your baseline is zero, doesn't teach your brain confidence. It teaches your brain that scary things feel scary. You need the opposite lesson. You need to teach your brain in small doses that discomfort is survivable, that you can move through it and come out the other side intact. Neuroscientists call this graded exposure, and it's the same principle used to rewire fear responses of every kind. Here's how to start. Pick something slightly outside your comfort zone, not terrifying, slightly uncomfortable, making eye contact a second longer, speaking up once in a meeting, sending the message you've been avoiding. Do it. Notice you survived. Notice the world didn't end. That's one rep. That's one small piece of evidence deposited into your brain's prediction system. On its own, it means almost nothing. Stacked over weeks, it changes who you are. The second building block is how you talk to yourself after those reps. Your brain has a running commentary called the default mode network, the part of your mind that narrates your life when nothing else is happening. That narrator shapes your identity. If your narrator says, "I'm awkward, I always mess this up, I'm not that kind of person," your brain files every experience under that story, even the good ones. It literally discards evidence that doesn't match. So you have to give the narrator a new line, not a fake one, a truthful, slightly generous one. Instead of "I'm bad at this," try "I'm learning this." Instead of "I embarrassed myself," try "I did something hard and I'm still standing." That small language shift changes which memories your brain saves and which it throws away. Over time, you start remembering yourself differently, and confidence is really just the memory of having handled things before. Here's what most people get wrong about confidence. They think it comes before the action, that you need to feel confident and then you'll do the thing. But it works the opposite way. Every study of skill acquisition and every honest, confident person will tell you the same thing. The feeling comes after you act, then the feeling follows. Sometimes days later, sometimes weeks later, but it always follows action, never leads it. Which means waiting to feel ready is the trap. You will never feel ready for something your brain has no evidence for. Readiness is the reward, not the requirement. The third building block is your body. Confidence isn't only mental, it's physical. Your posture, your breath, and your voice all send signals back up to your brain about how safe you are. When you slump, breathe shallow, and speak quietly, your brain reads those signals as danger. It stays in threat mode. When you stand tall, breathe slowly into your belly and speak from your chest. Your brain reads safety. Your nervous system settles. Your prefrontal cortex comes back online. You don't have to fake anything. Just don't collapse. Straighten up. Slow your exhale. Let your voice fill the space it naturally wants to fill. That alone changes the chemistry you're operating with. The fourth building block is the one almost nobody talks about: how you handle the losses. Because you will have losses. You'll speak up and get it wrong. You'll try and fall short. This is the moment that decides everything. If you treat a loss as proof you're not that kind of person, your brain files it as confirmation. Confidence drops. But if you treat a loss as data, as one rep in a long training arc, your brain files it as learning. Confidence holds or even grows. Confident people aren't people who never fail. They're people whose brains have learned that failing is survivable. That's it. That's the whole secret. There's a term for this: resilience. And resilience isn't a mood, it's a trained response. You build it by walking towards small failures on purpose, again and again, until your nervous system stops treating them as emergencies. The fifth piece is patience with the timeline. Neural pathways don't strengthen overnight. Myelin, the coding that makes brain circuits fast and automatic, builds slowly with repeated use. That's why real confidence takes months, not moments. But here's the quiet upside. Once it's built, it stays. A wired-in prediction doesn't disappear when you have a bad day. It's structural. That's the difference between confidence and mood. Mood shifts hourly. Confidence holds. So if you're starting from zero, understand what you're actually doing. You're not searching for a feeling. You're laying down a physical pathway in your brain, one small, honest action at a time. Tick one uncomfortable thing this week. Something small enough that you'll actually do it. Do it, even badly. Notice you survived. Write down that you did it if that helps make it real. Then do another one next week and another. 6 months from now, you'll turn around and realize you become someone your old self wouldn't recognize. Not because you found confidence, because you built it, one rep at a time. There's something worth sitting with here. You probably already know exactly which small action you've been avoiding. Your brain flagged it the moment I described this. That thing is your starting rep. So, here's the question. Which one small, uncomfortable action will you take this week? Drop it in the comments. Naming it out loud makes your brain far more likely to follow through. If this way of thinking about your mind clicked for you, there's another video on this channel about how your brain builds any habit from scratch. It pairs almost perfectly with this one, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. And if you want more videos like this, practical, calm, brain-based ways to actually change how you think and act, subscribe and turn on the bell. New scripts drop every week, each one built the same way. No hype, no BS, just the science of becoming someone stronger than you were. You don't need to be born confident, you just need to be willing to give your brain the evidence. Because confidence was never a gift, it was always a skill waiting for you to start.